Imagine a flesh-splitting, parasitic snake monster with a grudge and horny powers, and a village full of innocent civilians, and a blonde teenager with one eye who has a god-tier space-time ninjutsu and a sword that is basically screaming, "I am him." No, this isn't a setup to Kishimoto's new light novel for Boruto titled Boruto: How I Accidentally Became Konoha's Shinju Pest Control Employee of the Month. This is a very real problem that is headed straight for Konoha, which is Mamushi. And while Kashin Koji is planning like a Buddhist Batman with divine Wi-Fi, and Inojin is mastering a jutsu-powered psychic control, and Inojin's mastering a new Yamanaka clan hidden jutsu that he made from scratch, the same way that you would have Professor X from X-Men on chakra supplements if he was a Naruto character, there is one shinobi who can realistically deliver the final blow to Mamushi and do it without flattening the entire Hidden Leaf Village in the process. Then again, insurance agencies in Konoha would probably like it given how many times the village has been destroyed in the past. The real trump card here is Boruto Uzumaki. Join me in today's newest Naruto Explained video where your OBC, your original Boruto chief, is gonna break down exactly why Boruto, not Kawaki, not Sarada, not Damon, Boruto is the definitive answer to stopping Mamushi when he does invade Konoha. So without further ado, let's just get right into this one because I'm super excited about this one. So we got to first start with why Mamushi is the perfect anti-village threat. So Mamushi is terrifyingly designed to ruin Konoha's day when you think about it. Mamushi's abilities are built around warfare when you think about it. He can split himself into unlimited copies. Each clone has the full power of the original, but the intelligence, it ends up dividing the way that shadow clones divide chakra. If you make 3 shadow clones, you have to divide your chakra 25% between yourself and the other 3 clones. Mamushi's intelligence is divided evenly between all the different clones that he has. Also, his eyes, they're the weak point, and the main body is drawn by instinct to that throng of clones that are made. A throng, for those of you guys who don't know, is basically a large group of people. Meanwhile, this is important to keep note of because you don't get necessarily a boss fight here. Instead, you're getting an infestation when you think about it. It's a nightmare scenario for an urban shinobi environment. Hence, I came up with that pest control joke earlier in the video. Mamushi isn't just destructive. That's what sets him apart from Code or Hidari or even the other Shinju clones that we've seen. Mamushi is chaotic, he's animal driven, he is unpredictable, he's driven by instinct and obsession, especially regarding a certain long-legged Senrigan user named Ada. This means if you let this guy run wild in Konoha, you aren't necessarily losing buildings, you're losing civilians, you're losing the mission. You're losing the trust in the Hokage system. Yet another attack has come to Konoha under Shikamaru's watch. This threat is so dangerous that Kashin Koji, who plays 4D chess with fate itself, has laid down one very well thought out strategic doctrine, and it was all to stop one entity, Mamushi. And at the core of that plan is to wipe out all the clones in one decisive strike before the main body can do any real damage. This isn't a fight that you drag out. This is a fight that you try to end as efficiently as possible. You make him make as many clones as possible. That way the main body swarms faster to the location of all the other clones, and then you take them all out in one blow. But that brings me to the only real candidates that we have that are capable of doing this. And this is a bigger deal than I think people realize. So in my opinion, there are only 3 characters who can effectively carry this out. So Kashin Koji basically told us, we need ridiculous apocalyptic attack power, but we also need this without turning Konoha into a crater. That criteria filters the list pretty fast. You're not going to get people like Shikamaru or Konohamaru. Shikamaru has strategy, but no god tier AP. Konohamaru, he's gotten stronger, but he's not the guy for the job. Kiba, nobody's even thinking about Kiba. Code, nobody's even thinking about Code, and then he's just out of pocket here. Delta, her eye beams are too destructive to be used in this scenario. Himawari, still has to learn how to control Kurama's power, so she's not there. Kashin Koji himself, he's more of a strategist, not necessarily a nuker, and also he has to keep himself hidden. So this brings me to the three people. Boruto with the Uzehiko Rasengan, Boruto who has all those Rasengan variations, Boruto who also has that ninja tech blade. Kawaki, he also has Otsutsuki power. He has Ishiki's full attack power. He also has ninja tech augmentation. That's why he's able to fire off all those chakra blasts. And then you have Sarada, who has that super overpowered Ohirume jutsu that she can use. But here's the problem. We're talking about precision when it comes to handling wide-scale destructive power that could cause an extinction level event for most people populated inside the shinobi village where this fight has to take place. Because if it takes place outside of Konoha, Juro will get involved. There's not too many people who can fit that job description, and that is why, in my opinion, out of those three people, Boruto is the one that you pick, because you have to contain a massive amount of chakra to take out a threat like this while minimizing any damage that will be done to the village. Ideally, you would have no damage done when that massive attack takes place. This is less of a power issue and more of a skill issue. Sarada with the Ohirume, she can pick and choose what it is that she affects with the gravity, but that's a lot of target. That jutsu also has blind spots. Then when you get to Kawaki, he has those chakra blasts and the chakra cubes, but Kawaki, based on what we've seen, when he blows things up, he blows up the entire area. So it can't be Kawaki, it has to be Boruto. Now, you might be saying, but why Boruto specifically? So in my opinion, Boruto's already proven he can nuke targets with utter precision. So let's go back to that Hidari fight for a second. Boruto unleashed a near full power Uzehiko Rasengan. It created a literal tornado chakra field that was able to destroy most of Hidari's body and do so without damaging the area. And I don't think enough people realize how insane it is what Boruto did. That's a level of chakra control that is absurd, because Boruto didn't just show raw destructive power. He showed a surgical devastation. That is a true sign of mastery right there. When you can contain that much AP into that one area and limit the area of damage. And that's what Mamushi truly requires. Overwhelming force to vaporize all of his clones simultaneously. Based on what Kashin Koji is saying, 30 clones would be ideal. Which if Ikimoto draws 30 clones, I'll be very impressed. Just given the fact that the guy doesn't necessarily like to draw shadow clones. Pay close attention to Boruto Part 1 and in Part 2. The most number of clones we've ever seen him make is like when Mitsuki made 6 or 7 clones. Part of the reason for that is Ikimoto drew a lot of shadow clones to Naruto. Probably got traumatized by that. I told the story in the past, but there was one chapter where I remember reading an interview where Kishimoto joked about it, that his assistants fell asleep and he played a joke on them. He finished the double spread with all the shadow clones, faxed it over to his editor, then redrew part of that scene, left the rest of it empty on the desk of his assistants, namely Ikimoto, and made them believe that they missed their deadline. Then said, haha, I'm joking. That is why, side note, if you read a lot of Kishimoto's interviews, he says that Naruto was inspired by him. That is some shit Naruto would have done. So I said to say this, Mamushi requires overwhelming force to vaporize all those clones simultaneously. You need perfect area control inside of a very crowded village. You need awareness and timing to strike when the main body converges. Boruto has all three of those when you think about it. His Uzehiko, it already mimics that cluster-wide battlefield control. The Rasengan is able to produce that high level of AP you need. Boruto isn't just strong, he's controlled, he's scalable. He has the temperament to end the threat, but also avoid civilian casualties. Sarada and Kawaki, I don't think that they're quite there yet. Kawaki's ninja tech, as we talked about before, when he unleashes those blasts, there's damage that's done to the area. Sarada's eye technique, Ohirume, as we talked about, there are blind spots to that jutsu that she has. I'm not sure she can get all of them at once, because if there are any outside of her field of vision, it's not going to work. Boruto, meanwhile, he's already operating at a pseudo Otsutsuki battlefield mastery level. And that's exactly what this entire situation demands. Now, this also brings me to another dark horse when you think about it, which is the Ninja Tech blade that Boruto asked for to be made. So this sword update that Boruto's getting, it might be a big deal. Let's look at the narrative positioning here. Boruto returns to Konoha. He immediately asks Sumire to enhance his blade with the ninja tech inside that scroll, right before the Mamushi battle. This isn't vanity. This isn't Boruto saying, I'm gonna add somebody else to my harem and get Sumire even more in love with me. The guy doesn't even know she's in love with him. This is foresight. And what do we know about blade augmentation in the Boruto era? There's technology that's used with them. As we saw before, you have that chakra saber. You have energy amplification based on some of the ninja tech that we've seen in the series. That means focus AP. Boruto swordsmanship with chakra tech integrations. That is basically like mixing Minato levels of genius and precision, Sasuke killing techniques, and Naruto's overwhelming chakra buff. Boruto with a god tier ninjutsu blade is the perfect counter to a target with weak points for eyes, a target that swarms, and a fight where you can't miss. You have to be surgically precise. This isn't necessarily a weapon. I would argue Boruto's sword is more like a scalpel that is being forged for gods to use. If Mamushi's weakness is truly ocular vulnerability, a high precision chakra blade comes with the perfect finishing tool in the hands of someone like Boruto. And somewhere Momoshiki's probably laughing, going, I remember the last time I had a kunai, Sasuke's Rinnegan went poke poke. Boruto, let me take over. I show you how to do this shit perfectly. Somebody's like, man, why you got those Sasuke on the bus? Because I felt like it. Now, this brings me to the Nojin factor. So, Kashin Koji didn't just call Nojin to the front lines for fun. He's having him build a evolution of the mind transmission jutsu. It's being guided by 10 directions, meaning Nojin may be able to hurt those Mamushi clones mentally. He might be able to disrupt their instincts. He might be able to lock onto their attention, forcing convergence for the execution stake. Because mind transmission jutsu lets you implement memories and share intel and talk and etc. An evolution would have to do something like this. If Inojin's jutsu is able to further cluster them, it makes it easier for Boruto to destroy them. It's a perfect 1-2 punch. And let's be honest here. If Inojin becomes this mass psychic conductor, then Boruto becomes the executioner. Koji set the board. Inojin corrals the pieces together and Boruto checkmates the actual threat in place. It's something that truly works when you think about it. But this also brings me to why Kawaki and Sarada, they aren't the strike choice this time. But why, if you're a Sarada and Kawaki fan, you shouldn't be upset. Which I know that's hard and everything because you got like fandom wars, or people only read the chapters when they find out that their favorites are in them, and then they skim through it for all the other chapters or their favorites on there. We're not doing agenda pushing here, but this is me saying, while I do think that like Sarada and Kawaki, if you do put them in this battle, they serve a role. They serve a very clear role. I'm more so just arguing that from a narrative perspective, it does kind of feel like this is setting the stage for Boruto to be the one that ends up delivering a bigger knockout blow. That just means that Sarada and Kawaki's time will be coming later. Delayed payoff is never a bad thing. So Kawaki's power is a little unstable to a degree. Otsutsuki form correlates collateral risk because of his ninja tech. He also is quick to anger at times, and that can cloud his decision making. Boruto's presence, I would argue at times, does trigger some emotional volatility. Putting Kawaki in a civilian crisis with a monster feasting in chaos, that might be a powder keg, especially if Boruto accidentally uses Koma. Then with Sarada, you have the Mangekyo Sharingan, frightening AP potential, yes, but this isn't a fight that she should risk blindness on. The more she uses Ohirume, the faster her eyes are going to go blind. This isn't the moment where you should be using that. Sarada will shine, but not here, not just yet. This moment demands somebody who can maintain battlefield composure, scale the damage radius scientifically, handle cosmic level of power being output and the confines of city limits, strike with intent, not rage. Basically scale the attack to a small area. That's Boruto in my opinion. And this brings me to why Boruto slaying Mamushi with Kobu inside the village is what truly matters. Yes, the guy who is low-key Boruto's third biggest hater right now, Kobu, who answers to the feudal lord and is trying to get Shikamaru out the Hokage office, that guy Kobu might end up being somebody that Boruto desperately needs. So Kobu isn't just surveillance. He is an audience surrogate inside of the story. He's there working on behalf of the feudal lord. His judgment and his witnessing things does matter because he represents the feudal lord's doubt. He is a witness of truth in a way. His perspective, it could shape political narratives. Konohamaru's statements need validation because Kobu thinks that Konohamaru's out his rabbit ass mind. If Boruto saves Konoha while Kobu is there, then dominoes could start to fall. He might begin to question propaganda. Konohamaru gains credibility. Rumors could start shifting in Boruto's favor. Sarada's open support could gain momentum. Shikamaru's political stance, it could grow stronger. The village will begin to question certain things that have happened. Symbolically, Boruto saving the very place that exiled him over and over again. It flips the entire Boruto is a criminal fugitive narrative on its head. It seeds the path to Boruto's heroic return arc. It begins redemption of perception, not redemption of the character because he never turned evil. Redemption from the world's memory, basically remembering him as everything that he wasn't. This moment isn't just a fight. It's one of the first public miracles of Boruto, the outcast shinobi messiah, making his return. Yes, I call him messiah. Don't get upset. People get pissy when I do stuff like that. I don't mean that for blasphemy. I have to put that out there. If I get one more email, somebody saying, why do you have 10-10-316? That's disrespect. Bitch, it's a reference to Stone Cold Steve Austin's Austin 316 stuff. Notice the championship belts on the channel. That's what it's for. I am a proud Christian. I am not doing anything blasphemous. But here's the thing. The political story does turn here. The myth, it changes in real time. Mamushi isn't just a villain. In my opinion, he is a litmus test for Boruto's future role. The shinobi who can wield godlike power responsibly, the heir of peace through strength and restraint, the savior that the world denied until he was able to prove himself with action. Kawaki will burn the world to protect Naruto. Boruto will save worlds without forsaking them, and that's the contrast. It begins crystallizing all of that when Boruto's able to slay Mamushi inside of Konoha. That's why it needs to happen. So when Mamushi slithers into Konoha, when the clones start swarming like a nightmare birthed from a obsession and chakra evolution and a desire to get his hands on Ada's genetic data, remember this, only one shinobi has the power to erase him and the heart to spare the world around him. Not a weapon of fate, not a vessel of divine ego, but a boy who became a storm and learned how to contain lightning in the palm of his hand. Boruto Uzumaki isn't just a trump card. He's the scalpel that's able to cut destiny clean. He is getting his moment. It is coming. The only question left now is Boruto making another step towards reclaiming his legacy, or is this just the opening act of Boruto's Shinobi Messiah arc? Obviously, if you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing and clicking here on the left to check out more Naruto Explained videos, or click here on the right to check out videos from other two anime channels where I talk about non-Naruto content.